Hi, today's video is all about fountain pen papers. Not everyone needs them. First, I will go through the points that you can consider to determine if you need them. And then I'll present a general introduction to the world of fountain pen papers and show you what a paper buffet is. Let's go! So the paper on the left-hand side is a normal copier paper, and the paper on the right-hand side is a fountain pen paper, Tomoe River paper. So what pens do you use? Ballpoints, gel pens, or fountain pens? What nib sizes do you like? Extra fine or broad? So it shouldn't matter if you're using a fine nib, it shouldn't matter if you're using a gel pen. So if you're using fine nib, if you're using gel pen, yeah, feel free to use copier paper. But if you're the kind who love to use fountain pen, like thick fountain pen, like the broad nibs, medium nibs, then you should use a fountain pen paper. Are you concerned with your writings looking furry? We call this feathering, or the ink going through to the other side of the paper. That's bleeding or ghosting. Fountain pen papers can handle inks much better. Can you see it feathering out? So let me just zoom in a little bit more so that you guys can actually see the differences. And you have a fountain pen, a normal paper, like a copier paper, you do get all these things called feathering. And on a fountain pen paper, nothing, right? You don't actually see. It looks really nice. And a stark difference is when you actually flip the paper over. Okay, can you see? This is the normal paper, right? So this is the normal paper. This is called bleed through, or we call it bleeding. Paper from Tomoe River is very thin, so you get this one, this ghosting over there. Like, you can actually see a bit of the handwriting on the other side. Yeah, but it does not bleed through like this one. Like you do see like the ink just ponding over at certain areas. So for me, this is a make or break point. If I do have this, if I see this in my notebook, I will not use a notebook because I can't stand that. But of course, if you look at the gel pen, this does not happen. Like you will be okay if you're using a gel pen. If you're using a fountain pen but using like a fine nib, you shouldn't have the problem as well. So if you can see, so it behaves the same as your gel pen because it is a fine nib. Do you like to use special fountain pen inks like the shading or the sheening inks? These special inks tend to show up better in fountain pen papers. The inks have dried. The ink looks actually okay over here. You do see two different colors, like this one a little bit more purple and here a bit more gray. But it's definitely more apparent on the fountain pen paper. And you see like the differences in how that ponding, that shading looks like. On the sheening, the shimmer ink, I don't see a big difference in the shimmer ink. So to examine the differences in the sheening ink, I have to take my handphone down and to actually show you how it actually looks in an angle. So if you look at the normal paper, if you see that it actually just looks red color. When you look at the paper, when the ink on the fountain pen paper, you see that the sheening comes out a little bit more. Do you need to write fast, or are you a left-hander? Ink tends to dry slowly on fountain pen paper, so it's not for quick notes or people who write with their left hand. What a mess, right? It will take a long time for the paper for the ink to dry on the paper. But if you give it time, it's going to dry and give you very nice effect. So it takes about a minute. It takes about a minute for the ink to dry on a fountain pen paper. This is instantaneous. So if you're like the kind who are writing notes really quickly, and you are, let's say for example, left-hander, this really is quite important. Like you do not want to get your writings on smudged, and you may want to actually use a paper that is slightly less ink retardant. But then again, Tomoe River paper is known for its like slow drying time. So if you can, there are also other fountain pen papers that you can actually go for, or you can look for inks that are not that takes like that's fast drying. But of course, you have to test it, and you have to look at reviews to see whether those inks are suitable for your usage. Are fountain pen papers for you? If your answer is yes, stay tuned to this segment where I talk about fountain pen papers in general. So these are the main makers of fountain pen papers. Tomoe River, right? there's Rhodia, Clairefontaine, Campus Kukuyo, Maruman, and even Muji. If you get papers from these makers, you are sort of in a good hands. These are what I have, but there are definitely more brands.
And there are differences amongst the papers made by the different makers, and this affects how your handwriting will look.
At the end of the video, you actually see footage where I actually get to look at all the other different papers when I went for a paper buffet. It was a really fun experience, but I actually try out different papers.
Like regular notebooks, they come in various sizes.
So I've chosen A5. I normally like to use A5 because they're not too small, so I can write enough, but I don't have to carry like an A4 size with me. So they come in book form, like these two are in book format. So they open up like a book, right? So this is the book format. You have those that's in a pad format, so they are like this, right? Where you open up at the top and you get to tear off the paper when you're done. There are also those that are in a loose sheet form, so they come in a pack, right? Of close to like 50 papers or 60 papers, or some up to 100 paper, and they come with the like pre-punched holes, and most of these are from like Japanese brands. And then of course we have the hybrid, which is this is from Muji, where it is like a loose sheet, but they actually put it in a book form. The pages also come in different forms. So for example, you have those that are already printed with lines, and then you have those that have little dots on them. They call it dot grids, and you have those that are in grid form, and you also have the blank paper. They have different sizes, so you may have 5 mm, 6 mm, 7. If your handwriting is really tiny, that you may want to get one where the the lines are pretty close, and if your handwritings are like fat and you're using like a thick nib, then you may want to find something that is thicker. So another difference is of the paper color. So some of these are actually more white. Certain papers are actually more warm and more cream. So we call these like the cream colors, and these are like the white. So the next difference is, this is not, you can't find this in all the papers, but some papers do tell you what grammage they are. So for example, for the Rhodia here, it says it's 80 gram, so it's thicker, 80 gram. And for the Tomoe River paper, it's 52 grams per meter square. So it's so much thinner. So can you see how thin this paper is versus the Rhodia, which is so much thicker? So as a guide, I think for photocopier paper, it's about 60, right? 60. So even for fountain pen papers, there's also this texture differences. And I don't know if you can see the texture differences, but there's definitely differences in how grainy it is. Some people like paper a little bit more toothy, so that they can feel the scratchiness, can feel it. Some people like the paper really smooth. Yeah, but it's personal preference. This is something that you will not know unless you open up and you used it.
So several months back, I had the chance to attend a paper buffet at City Lux, a local stationery store. So during the session, we had a chance to try out all 18 papers from the Yamamoto sample paper pack. It was like speed dating with paper, where we had about 1 minute each to try out with the fountain pens that we have brought to the event. I discovered some very interesting papers.
What is this? Is this a tracing paper? It's smooth.
Oh, surprising. It's a surprising paper.
Surprising. Very. Yeah, but it goes over to the other side.
Thanks to City Lux and Fountain Pen Lovers Singapore for organizing this event.
Hi, we've reached the end of the video.
So what do you think? Do you think you need more fountain pen papers? And if you do, what is your favorite brand?
And we have a discussion in the comment section, all right? So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe if you like to see similar content. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!